What if I told you that in most of these markets that I'm speaking about, the apps, DoorDash in particular, does a very terrible job of when it's actually busy and when it's actually not. A lot of times in a smaller market like this one, they will say that the app is busy, but then you'll log on and you won't get an order for an hour. You won't get a single request. I've already had that happen a couple times today. So, if it's not busy, why are they highlighting it for people to log in? Keep everybody. My suggestion for the apps for DoorDash and the Uber hotspot, Uber heat zones. Being able to log into Uber, of course, is not relevant to whether a market is busy or not, and there's no scheduled times, which is a plus. But at the same time, the hot spot maps are also terribly inaccurate. Again, even if they show warmer areas for business in the map, even Uber, you can go an hour plus in a smaller market such as mine and not get a single request, let alone a good one. And the worst part about it is you log in, you get requests, and they're not good ones. They're money-losing trips. The customers aren't tipping, whatever. Just don't, it doesn't make any sense. So that is my personal critique of the apps, is that I believe that DoorDash and Uber need to do a lot better in regards to being accurate with whether or not a market is actually busy or not. And again, I'm speaking to my smaller, we're technically part of the Twin Cities metro market here, and our zones reflect that accordingly. But at the same time, we are also an ex-urban market. Again, Forest Lake, Minnesota. We are an ex-urban market, a city of about 20,000 people, with quite a bit of space between us and the main suburban core of the Twin Cities metropolitan area. So we do kind of sit out here by ourselves, and many of our orders, once again, go well out of town. We cover probably about a 225 square mile area. Even though the zone itself for Forest Lake / Hugo is a lot smaller than that, but our deliveries go well outside of the zone on a regular basis. And so we cover about 225 square miles. And the people who live the furthest out, they tend to tip the best, which actually mathematically makes sense because they are the furthest away, and I think they are very aware of the situations that we face as drivers. And so if you've seen any of this and you live in a semi-rural / remote area and you've tipped well, I would like to take a moment and say thank you. And so, but the apps just need to do a lot better in these areas. I don't think as much. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Let me know if you're an experienced urban core driver and if this is a problem where you live or not. And I'm also going to tag Pedro in this. I just want to see what he thinks about this whole concept about the busy hot zones, whether a zone is busy or not, and how accurate he has seen that in St. Louis. So I just wanted to throw that out there for short consumption here today. Again, I'll tag Pedro in this episode, and we'll see what he and his viewers tend to think if they happen to find their way into this. But yes, the apps, DoorDash and Uber Eats, need to do much, much better with being accurate in their reflection of how busy it is any particular given moment, and whether the driver should actually log on or not. Because a lot of us are wasting time. And again, as I've said before in previous episodes, I don't sit out there in the town itself and wait for orders. I do it at home, like I am right now. I wait for it at home where I'm comfortable, where if I need to do anything or need to pick up a couple of quick cleaning things in the house, I can do it while I wait. If I need to go check the mail, if I need to do laundry, I can do that while I wait for trips. You can't do that when you're waiting in a parking lot somewhere. So those are my thoughts. But if I did, I'd be even more upset about this if I actually was a driver who went through town and waited for orders. But I live in town, and so I feel comfortable waiting for orders here. But I just think it's a waste of time for us to have to log in with an order expectation. I know that there's a wait time estimate at the bottom of the screen before we log in, but even that's not accurate. Like everything else in Forest Lake, we wait for everything here. We wait for longer than anybody else in the country for our orders once we get to restaurants, and I wait longer than promised for offers, and even then they may be crap. A lot of orders in this area are crap because of how far we often have to drive outside of town to make a delivery, and of course you can't get one back because you're delivering into a rural area. It's not possible to get your trip back into the zone. But again, I live in a zone with 2 towns next to them. So if I have an order going south to Hugo, for example, I like those because a lot of times you can get one coming back towards Forest Lake. At least part of the way there. You can just recoup some of your expenses and miles going down and coming back. So if I'm going down to that part of the zone, that's an ideal thing. Again, local knowledge, as I mentioned previously, local knowledge means everything in this game. So anyhow, that's going to be it for this episode. I will see you folks on the next one. And again, peace out, homies.